Hello, everyone. We are live yet again, and this is going to be one of my authors' chats of the week. Hopefully, I know my co-host tonight. She actually has some jury duty, if I remember correctly. So, just depending on when she gets out, we're hoping we can connect relatively quickly and get things going. Regardless, we'll be talking about books, writing, publishing, and everything in between. And just a little rehash. This week is been a very frigid one to begin with. So hopefully everybody is staying warm out there with this big storm that's been pushing through. I've been reading a lot, let's say, over the weekend. And so far this week been already writing actually. I almost finished a whole chapter for the project I'm working on, which is a progression style dark fantasy. So didn't finish the chapter exactly, but I'm getting really close to it, and that means I'll probably still hit my goal by the end of the week if all goes well. But as I kind of ramble on, I'm going to keep an eye out for my co-host and see if I can get her on here shortly. I thought I saw her pop up momentarily, but I'm not positive, since I'll keep an eye out. There she is. See if she sees my invite, and also, since I always forget, make sure I turn up my volume on my end so I can hear. And we'll get things going. But how's everybody faring? And let me know if you were reading anything over the weekend to keep away from the frigid weather outside. Let me know. I've been finishing up Mistborn. I have just the epilogue left of the first book of that trilogy. And yeah, so. Hello. Okay, I sent the invite. See if you see that. Try it. Haha. Hello?
Hello?
I can hear you. I cannot see you, but it always starts off like this. You have to figure out how to invert or flip around your video camera, which I think, yes, there you go.
Okay.
Hi!
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm glad we could connect and everything went well, despite the fact that half the country is under a big, ice storm, snowstorm, blizzard, all the above.
Yes. We here in Colorado are sad that we kind of missed out on it.
Well, it's still early enough in the year. You still may get something your way. I can tell
That's
you
true.
down south, we don't like the cold down here. We're already ready for it to just be over.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, you said Georgia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't even imagine what it's like down there right now for you guys.
Very frigid, though. My husky is loving the weather, so,
Yep. We have a very fuzzy mini Aussie Doodle that goes out and just lays in the snow and the ice whenever it happens. So
Yeah, no, the other dog we have is Irish Wolfhound, and he may look big and tough, but he's not. And so he comes in every time like frost covered everything and fringed with like sleet, and he's like, nope, this is not for me. Put me inside on my bed. But
Mom, fix it.
I know exactly every time. But to get things going, I don't know if you ever listened to any of my lives before, but it's pretty conversational. If anybody in the chat kind of pops in a bookish related comment or question, I try to answer and make point those out and then answer them if they need to be answered question wise. Just because if this platform is nice, I try to repurpose this on other places.
Yep.
And if that works out, I'll make sure I tag all your information down below so people can continue to find you and what you write. But since you're my co-host tonight, I'll let you introduce yourself and what you write, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, my name is Megan Whiting. I am a romance author. That's all I've done so far is romance. I would like to branch out eventually, but it's just what always calls me back. I've published 3 books in the last year and a half, and I'm currently working on my 4th.
That's okay. In a year and a half, that's a lot, especially for a newly fledged author like that.
Yep.
How? Let's start with that. It's like, where are you finding the time to write these books? Because so many people struggle with time just to find the right time just to write.
Yeah.
But to be able to churn out 3 books in a year and a half, that's phenomenal. So where do you fit that in your schedule?
Well, I was lucky enough that during my debut, I was able to focus a little bit more on it. I was in between jobs at the moment. I had just moved to a new place. I was full of inspiration, and it was awesome. It was a super fun time. My second book, honestly just kind of poured out of me. I don't know why or how, but I think I wrote my first draft of the second one in about 6 weeks,
Oh,
which
wow.
is crazy. The fourth book not coming out of me that fast. But, I think it just depends. I mean, I am a mom of three. I am self-employed, so that helps and it hurts. You can't skip work and, but also I get to control my own hours, so it helps a little.
Oh, I understand all about the self-employed life. It's for me the hard part is disentangling myself from my work because especially if I since I work at the house, it's so easy just to go and jump on the computer any time of day, weekends, nights, and just
Yep.
do something bookish related or art related, and then it's like you blink and I'm like, what do I do beyond this? I mean, I know I have a lot
Mhm.
of interest. I just am a workaholic, and living in the same space where I work doesn't make it easy to separate the two.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very hard to shut off the brain, especially once it gets going with business stuff. Like my husband and I run a food truck. So, like, it's nothing
Ah.
super intensive, but it's fun and creative as well. So sometimes when we get rolling, we just can't really stop talking about it, which is
Hey, that's
annoying when you want
fair.
to.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say especially it's one. Oh, what is the quote? When you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. So
Yep.
if it's always lovely to talk to someone who is doing what they love, even if it's multiple jobs to couple together.
Yep.
Because writing, no matter what, is a job. It may not be your only job, but it is a job.
Yes. I would agree with that.
So with let's since you write romance, when I've talked to romance writers, a lot of them tend to write books that I either are not in series or if they are, they always kind of focus on a new couple each time. When it comes to your
Mhm.
books, you have three out and the fourth one on the way. Are they all linked? Are they separate standalones? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Two were complete standalones, and the third book I wrote was called "Check Me Out." It is turned into the first book of an interconnected series, kind of like Love Light Farms, like you said, where it follows a different set of characters each time, but same universe.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say for all those Bridgerton fans out there, that kind of thing too. And
Yes, exactly.
but so who are some of your characters in couples? Because I'm on the fantasy side, second world high fantasy, and depending on the book and story, it's kind of fun to see how many characters I can qualify as mains versus secondary and tertiary and all that kind of stuff. But romance is a little different. So who are some of your main characters in your respective books slash series?
So in the series, the funny thing about the series is that Check Me Out was inspired by literally one moment I had with my friends in my friend group. So there's five of us in total, and one of them made a funny, she just a slip of the tongue, funny thing at the grocery store. And it turned into this long running joke that the guy she said it to was her soulmate. So that's where the book comes from. It literally stems from about a 10-minute interaction that turned into a whole novel. And then, so the whole rest of the friend group will get their own stories as well.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah.
That is fun. Hey, that's a question a lot of people, if you are listening and you are a writer out there and it hasn't happened to you, it will. Who am I in your story? Like that's going to happen
Yes.
in your, friend group, maybe even your family, but someone's going to come up and go, "Who am I?" I have to be
Yep.
one of your stories, and it's so funny because with very, very, very few exceptions, I really don't base any of my characters off people I know, but certain circumstances or things like that, I will pull inspiration from. So it for me, it's
Yeah.
always interesting what people pull inspiration wise from the little tidbits of their life or maybe their full life, who knows, but what
Yep.
you
Yep.
can
Let's just
incorporate.
hope you're not the villain in somebody's story.
Yeah, hey, I've said this one a couple of times and it always makes me laugh. There was an acquaintance I knew through a friend, and she came up to me one time at an event and she was like, "I want you to write me into your book." And I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, "And then I want you to unalive me. And it has to be spectacular." And I'm like, Well, that's a new one.
Yeah, that is an
Okay.
interesting request.
I told her I was like, if I ever could find the right story where a character like her could be put in and then unalive,
Mhm.
I will do it for her. So far, I haven't found the right story, which is funny because I do tend to do on the darker side of fantasy, but haven't found that one for her. But it's on the back burner. It may come out one day, and just like I'll sprinkle that little tidbit in there
When you least expect it.
when you least expect it. So, okay, so you said that for your writing, each of your friends are going to have some kind of character or circumstance or themed book inspired by them. Who of your three main characters so far, which one speaks the most to you individually? Is there anyone that kind of you jive with a little bit more than others?
So the character in Check Me Out was so fun to write because she's based off my friend Abby, and Abby is quirky and funny, and you never know what she is going to say. Obviously, hence the whole reason the book happened. And so it was fun to like let go and be quirky and be, unhinged and say those weird things, knowing that like it fit her, you know?
Love it.
But I'm also having a little bit of fun. I'm writing the next book now, and they're kind of, it started out as a grumpy sunshine, but they're kind of both a little bit grumpy. Uh, so, and that's kind of fun too, because I've always grown up as like a perfectionist where, I grew up, my dad was a pastor. And so like having to be kind of perfect all the time and having to be polite and always say the right things, it's kind of nice to just kind of be a jerk every now and then in the writing.
It is. And that's the thing, one of the many things I should say, when it comes to writing, like, you create characters and worlds, and it allows you as a writer to experience other lives. And hopefully your readers as well
Mhm.
then will feel the same way. But, like, when you're creating that, you can be a different version of yourself. You can be a totally different person that hopefully you're never actually going to be in real life. But you just,
Yes.
what if?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So it is fun to branch out on that a little bit right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and is you never know. There's always those kind of unexpected things though when you write a story. For me, at least, the books become alive. The characters get their own kind of life force and take on their own personalities. Have you, in
Definitely.
your experience so far, had dealt with anything like that where you were thinking it was going to go this way, and then either a character or just the plot or something like was like, no, we're going a totally different way now.
Yep, definitely. So my second book that I released last year is called Shift Change, and it is an odd one to market. It started out, my husband literally just looked at me and said, "What if, someone created robotic war machines and war came to the United States, which, is kind of unfathomable to us. You know what I mean? We write about it, we read about it, we watch about it, but it was kind of like his description was like, okay, the US is no longer inhabitable. So you have to move up towards Canada where there are green zones, where then like there's small areas where everybody can live, so everybody's kind of stacked on top of each other. So then the shift change title comes from the fact of everybody has to live in shifts. You're either designated day shift or you're designated night shift. And he was like, what if he lives on day shift but she's on night shift, and they're not supposed to meet and they're not supposed to love each other and that kind of stuff. And I loved it and I ran with it, but I also added two new characters to it that just kind of came out of nowhere but wouldn't let me go. So Shift Change is hard to market because it's four different points of view and it's two different love stories and two different timelines. And then there's this war with AI and like it's kind of crazy, but I'm so stinking proud of it. It's the one that I wrote in about 6 weeks. It just
That's
came
fun.
to me like nothing else.
Hey, sometimes the quirkier ideas are the best one. It may take you a moment to get that like speed of like how do you pitch it and how do you find that right,
Mhm.
readership, but people love quirk, and that's I think one of the reasons why we've had so many of these kind of subgenres popping out that weren't around so many years ago. It's just people like different and unique things.
Hmm.
They may not realize it until they try it, but
Yep.
it can be a breath of fresh air, especially if you are just kind of like me, go to the same thing all the time, and then someone's like, try this. I'm like, but this isn't, high
Yep.
fantasy.
Yep.
This isn't. And then you try, and you're like, oh, yeah, I see in the comments. Yeah, so I was gonna say Matt Dillon, yes. Science friction, yes. Very true. All these little new terms and subgenres and new kind of almost like tropes. Like, how do you brand this? And
Mhm.
so, romantic sci-fi. No, there would have to be something romantic apocalyptic sci. You'll have to figure. You
Yep.
can workshop
I
that.
kind of I kind of tell people it's a romance with dystopian vibes. Like they're there, but it's not a dystopian centered book. So like it's yeah, it's I like science friction. That's pretty good.
That one as well, but I agree. I agree. See, fun stuff. And I learn new terms every day, which is funny because I actually know Matt vaguely through the authordom. But science fiction, interesting stuff. Love it. So when you're working on your books, I know you said your book 4 is in the works, and it's been coming a little slower than other books I've in the past. I understand because where's this book? Well, it's right behind this one. This one gave me so much trouble. Actually, no, it's the one after this one. The one I'm going to be publishing this year. Sorry, the one that's in edits. But like that series, my YA Isekai Portal Fantasy, another one of those series. I just don't know exactly where to throw it, but
Yep.
it kind of
Yep.
works for a variety of things. But yeah, book 6 is just. It took me like a year and a half. And now I was writing other things. I would like put it away
Mhm.
because I got so
Yep.
frustrated, knock something out and like really quickly, and then come back to it and just slog through. I don't
Yep.
know why it just had to be so hard to write that particular story. But it was. So with you, is it because your struggle to make it work quicker? Is it because you don't know where the plot's going? Is it because you're trying to find the right words on how to express things? Do you have any idea why it's just slow?
I think it's just life right at this moment. I mean, work's kind of crazy, life is crazy at the moment, so it just feels like my attention is pulled in a million different directions. Normally, I can sit and write in a loud room and it doesn't bother me at all because I get so overcome with like the story that's in my head. And lately, it just doesn't seem like that's coming easily right now.
Yeah. I'm the opposite of that one. I have to be super silent. No very little distractions. My dogs, I can hear yours. Yeah, are like the max
Yeah.
amount of distraction that I can handle, and even still, I'll have to be like, you guys need to chill.
Right? Yeah, that was my
I'm
dog
working
right now
on
that
it.
I just had to let out because she wouldn't leave me
Yeah,
be.
I get that. I am a dog mom, so I get that. The best kind of distraction sometimes.
Yep.
But yeah, working through distractions, like I am. That's a tough one for me, and so I'm proud that you have had that ability in the past. So hopefully, you keep it going forward. But whew, that's a skill.
As
That
long
is
as
a
it's
skill.
not music. You turn on music and I'm going to start to sing along or I'm typing the lyrics. I can't, for
That's
whatever reason, write with music.
I'm the same. I'm the same way. But I've also realized, like, I'll have playlists that will get me in the mood. So I'll
Hmm.
have like series or book playlists, and I'm like, okay, this is getting me in the headspace. But if I'm going to sit down and write, that's turns off.
Yeah.
Though I really haven't played around with a lot of soundtracks that are just melodies and like no words.
Hmm. I have been
But
curious about that.
I know some writers really love them. I just haven't done it because I'm like, man, I have my word count that I'm trying to hit every week, and page count, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't know if I would risk it. Distractions can be tough. But
Yes.
with your books, how have you been trying to find readers for them? Because I know my past experience, I've done everything the wrong way the first time. It's okay to just learn from my mistakes. That's my goal. But like, how do you try to reach new readers?
Oof. I mean, I think I'm constantly trying to find new ways as well.
Mhm.
I feel like lately I have found sort of a niche in threads. Um,
Oh.
people look for book recommendations all the time. A lot, I like to make sure that they don't mind a self rec first before I just plug away in there. I also really try to find people who are looking for something that I have. I'm not going to just throw my book into the comments if they're looking for a fantasy. They don't have that. um, but I have been enjoying the Threads community lately. I know some people think it's really toxic. I am lucky enough to not be on that toxic side, I guess. I haven't found a whole lot of luck with TikTok, but I plug away at it anyways.
It's sorry, continue.
Oh, no. I was stuttering there for a second, so you go right ahead.
Well, I feel like everybody's brain works differently. I mean, we do. And so, like, there's going to be a place out there, a community out there that works better for certain people. For me, this one works very well, but I'm also an extrovert. And so, I can talk at a brick wall kind of thing. And I'll wait until someone listens. It's fine. But there are other people who approach and like different things. So, you just have to find the right community for you. I have yet to go on Threads. I just opened an account, but I haven't set it up. So I haven't posted or engaged, but at least I have it synced to my other, the other two that are in that group. So I will eventually poke around there because I have heard from the authors I know who've used it, good things, but as any place, you're going to have, the good and the bad. You just
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I think TikTok, I struggle with it a little bit just because I can be extroverted, but in the right energy. And I can't I've been nervous about this all day. So the posting and face forward and trying to come up with things to say that people want to hear just feels like it's not for me. Okay. But I'm trying.
You try, and then there are some people I know that have tried and all of a sudden it clicked and they're like, oh, this is actually a lot of fun. And then there are others who are just like, it's not going to be for me. And all options are fair. It works, whatever works for you. So the fact that you're trying new things, kudos. Especially, if you have a little bit of that discomfort of, that kind of face-to-face aspect. But see, thank you, Bookmark. Jory's saying,
thank you.
I'm not even a romance reader, and I am thoroughly enjoying. See, there you go. I love it.
Appreciate that.
And if anybody in who's listening in has any questions or comments or bookish things, feel free to chime in. I'm always happy to get a little chit chat going with more people. But going back to things, but yeah, marketing is a strange beast.
It is, and it is a lot. It is a lot to deal with and to try and do things for all the different things and all the different apps and all the different places you should be. One thing that's funny is that my husband is incredibly supportive, and in our food truck window, he has put a poster of my books. So I always have a few on hand, and so we sell them through the food truck as well, because he's like, you won't talk about it, so I'll just put something up there. And so he catches anybody looking at it. He's like, my wife wrote those. Like, it's adorable.
I love that. It's wonderful to have supportive spouses. And my husband, the way he shows his support is when I'll bounce ideas off of him. Now, mind you, he doesn't necessarily read my books, but he will be happy to be that person to kind of chuck ideas off of. But he also, when I go to live events to sell, he'll be my booth buddy. And so he'll sit with me and help with that. And if I'm, on a panel or something, he sits there, and he's very, very sweet. So I do love those supportive people out there. And everybody needs a supportive person. It doesn't have to be a spouse, but, just one other person in the book community or whatever your community is, and just be like, I got you.
Yes, definitely. It can be lonely without that.
That's true. That is very true. And again, I'll say it 1,000 times. I am an extreme extrovert, and I am in an introverted occupation. So I actually do thrive on stuff like this, because it's I can actually engage with someone and the real moment, and if it's this virtual face-to-face, I'll take it. I will take it. Have you done any physical or face-to-face kind of events, be it a book signing or launch party or anything like that at the moment of time?
I have not yet. I would love to. There is this really awesome event up in Springs. I think it's called Springs Bash or Springs Book Bash, and I was hoping to be involved in that this year, but it's the tables sell out so fast and the tickets sell out so fast. Like it is a hot commodity. But I am hoping to even do some super smaller, like more local to me events next year. The problem is our business typically runs on the days those are open. So
Yeah, I was gonna say when if you're doing the food truck thing,
Mhm.
I understand that too. So maybe maybe there's a way. I don't know the inner workings of food trucks work. So I don't know if you can have someone help behind the scenes or not. I don't know how all that works legally and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's always a nice experience if you're comfortable with it to do, something, even like you said, at a smaller local level, those are always kind of neat. And then just meeting people, and you'll get to that point where just you'll get those moments, those wonderful moments where someone's going to come up and be like, I read your book, or I saw you on this social media, or I did this, and it's just like, nice to meet you. And you're like, huh, someone recognized me.
So
Someone.
I did have the pleasure of having something similar to that. So we were running the food truck on a day on a nearby place near a bookstore that had just opened. So it was like opening day for the bookstore, and we were like one block over, right? So it just so happened my daughter's teacher at the time went to the bookstore opening, saw my last name on the book, and thought, oh, I wonder if they're related to this girl in my class. So she happens to come over to the food truck. I don't remember if she knew that we were the ones that ran it, but she was like, she did. She asked, she was like, "Are you or do you know who this is?" And I was like, "It's me." And she was like, "Oh my God, will you sign it?" So like I signed the book, and it was like I literally got like teary eyed, and it was amazing. And then
Oh,
she
I
like
love that.
texted me everything as she was reading the book.
I
Like
love
she was like,
that.
"Oh my God, I can't believe this happened!" And like it was so fun having like DMs or messages as someone's reading the book might be the funnest thing ever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've had that. There's been a few instances of those kind of moments, and it's such a cool feeling, and it's just like, this is nice.
Right? Like, oh my gosh, I'm actually getting the reaction from that moment that I wrote forever ago that I was hoping I'd get, Like that's
Oh
it's
yeah.
so fun.
Oh, definitely. When you're working on your books, even before you publish them, one thing I was always curious, like, do you do it all yourself? Do you? I actually didn't even ask. Are you independently published, or do you go
Mhm.
through a public? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you work with like editors, beta readers? Like, who do you work with anybody, or is it all on you at this point in time? Which that's a lot of work. I'll admit.
It's pretty much all on me. So anybody who's read my books, all those, typos and grammar things, sorry about that. That's me. It's not AI, I promise. It's all me. And but the only thing I don't do, I did my first cover for my debut, but my next two books, I worked with an amazing graphic artist that my husband and I used to work with in a previous business, and
Oh,
she's just
yeah.
fantastic.
I love that. Do you have any covers of your like books, demo books to like proofs or anything to show? Because I forgot. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier or not. I need to like make sure I have that in my memo when I talk to people. Like, oh, if you have your books behind, somewhere, it's always nice to
I know
see.
I told my husband, I said, where can I sit in my house that is aesthetically pleasing? Like we don't that's another thing I struggle with social media with is that I'm not an overly aesthetically pleasing person. Like my house is lived in. It's not like pretty. But they'll probably be backwards, but these are the two covers. So this is the Check Me Out. That's the one that's turning into the series. This is book one, and I just absolutely adore it. She's a baker, and he is the grocery store clerk at his family's grocery store.
No.
And then this is that shift change. So that's the cover there. It's a very dark one, so it's kind of hard to see the details in the phone, but it's got the contrast of he's on day shift, she's on night shift. It also has the contrast in the background of like pre-war versus post-war.
Okay.
So she did amazing with that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, I was gonna say cover sells, so I never be ashamed of like putting out there. And one of the tricks that before I was able to start way back, not that way back, before I was able to start filming and like doing some of these in front of a bookshelf of any sort, one of the things that I took advantage of, and this is just one of those sneaky things, just throwing it out there, is you can get your book cover, flip it so it's like backwards, print them out, and then if you need to like put them on a picture frame or something, and all of a sudden when you're filming these, it becomes right because everything's backwards.
So
It becomes
smart.
and then you can totally like and have like a little frames of your books and throw your idea out there.
Genius. I love it.
Easy things that it's just like I saw that someone else do that, and I was like, brilliant.
Yep. I would have never thought of that. I would have never thought of that because I'm terrible at the whole inversion thing too. And like
Yeah,
thinking
I
about
think
the
about that
fact that
all
it's
the
going to
time,
be
and I'm just
backwards
like,
for you.
you get the idea. It's there. It's like right now it's all backwards, but it's like, you can see, the colors and the images behind me. That's fine.
Yes, yes.
But I love that. So okay, so one of the questions that I haven't asked actually lately, but if any one of your books became some kind of movie, show, something, do you have like who you would want acting them in mind? Have you ever thought of that? I mean, some people are like, oh, I know, and others are like, I don't know.
You know what? I have not given it a ton of thought, other than the fact that one of the friend groups, one of the characters in Check Me Out, she is solely based. You mentioned Bridgerton. She is solely based, and I cannot remember her name, but the redhead in Bridgerton.
Mm-hmm.
She's who I picture. Every time I write her, every time she speaks, that's who I picture. Um, but other than that, I've never thought about it. I've thought
That's
about
okay.
how I think Shift Change would be a good movie. I think it's full
Mm-hmm.
of action and enough romance to keep both parties happy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I've never thought of who would play who.
And it's a shift change is such an interesting premise. So it is definitely a little more. For me, it catches, but then again, I like sci-fi as well. So it does kind of
Yeah.
like perk me up, and it's just like that's different versus as some of the other kind of little more, I guess, quintessential romance style
Mhm.
books and themes and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's good. So if you were to pitch your book, and you need to practice this if you don't know, pick one of your books and give like a little short pitch. Everybody needs practice of it. I'm terrible at this, by the way. So
Short as in like sentence or like, a certain amount of words or
sentence or two,
because I
whatever.
mean, the best way
You'll
I have found to pitch Shift Change is, but it's going to age me. And so there will be a generation that don't understand it probably, but it is iRobot with more romance.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
that's what it is. Um, um, for Check Me Out, I always say if you like small town romance with lots of food, lots of healing, chasing dreams, and a little bit of spice, then this one's for you.
I like that. I like that. Now, I don't know what kind of food truck you and your husband run, but when anybody like talks about like writing about food or some kind of food related thing, I actually a couple weeks ago was talking to someone, and he was coming out with a book that was based in and around. It was urban fantasy, but based in and around a pizzeria. And we're talking about a lot of the food stuff because why not? But have you ever considered like coming up with a recipe to like gift out to your readers? I don't know if you're dealing with actually making a food in your
Mhm,
book,
mhm.
but like, tying something to like, oh, this is that thing that would pair well. You have.
That would be so fun. So we are a burger truck, and my husband's the
Oh,
creative one. He's the one that comes up with the crazy, and they are crazy. Like we're currently running a special with tater tots on top of the burger.
yes.
So he likes to come up with some weird combinations, and they always seem to work. But yeah, so Check Me Out has a lot of food in it, a lot of recipes. So the character that works at the grocery store, his dream is to actually open up a food truck. You know, why not pull
Oh,
from real life,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I love
and
it.
uh and he cooks for her in one of the scenes to like get her
Ooh.
opinion and stuff. But yeah, between her owning a bakery and him running a food truck eventually, there was a lot of food involved, a lot of fun, interesting food combinations here. I have not thought about adding recipes though. I think that could be a really fun touch to a book. I know there are
Yeah,
people who
and
have
it's like
done
one of
that
those things
before.
like even if you don't put it in printed in the book, like if you were at a live event and do a signing, you could have a little accompanying thing, a little recipe thing, a little extra little gift for getting, you know, a
That's
signed
so
copy
cute.
directly from you.
I need
Yeah.
to hire you for marketing.
I love ideas. I'm terrible at everything else. Yeah, talking about the snacks and hydration. Yeah, I'll keep my hydration on this time. But yeah, no, I was gonna say, especially I don't know, for me, it's like if you I'm terrible about writing about like the details of food in my books. I kind of like it's there and I mention things, but I'm not really good about like deep descriptions of that. But I feel like if you wrote a book and it did incorporate that and be like, here's a recipe, and then you can like have the taste and the smell and like engaging
You
in
got
that
all the
world.
senses.
All the senses. And drum roll, please. So the question, yes, our weekly question. The question for you is, what is your favorite aspect of world building?
Ooh.
I was waiting to see if you were going to pop in and ask that question.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Because I feel like in my genre, there's not a ton. I don't feel like there's a ton of world building. I mean, when you got fantasy, you've got all these things, all these aspects, these old lore and places, different, what's the word? Different like biomes even. You've got different environments. So far I write mainly small town stuff sort of, but I like to make people feel. So
Oh,
one of the biggest compliments I got from an ARC reader for Check Me Out was that they could feel like they could envision the town. They felt like they were a part of the town.
oh,
Like, it was just that small town, cozy, almost like Gilmore Girlsy type location, and they were able to feel what I needed them to feel. So I
no.
guess that's my favorite aspect.
I like that. Yeah, and for those who listen in more on the weekly side of things, you hear me say this all the time. But yes, for an author, one of the best goals most of us have is we want our readers to come away feeling something, and it could be any emotion, but
Mhm.
an emotion or multiple emotions, and it don't have to be the good emotions. It just if they can read your book
Yep.
and feel something, that's a win. So I totally like that
Yeah.
idea. That you can
So
immerse
my
yourself in a
date,
small time charm.
yeah, my debut was all about emotion, and I felt like it was difficult to market as my first book. It's easier now, but it started out of an intrusive thought of what would happen if I lost my husband.
Oh.
So the main female character loses her husband, and from that moment on, she can interact with him in her dreams. Kind
Mm.
of like think P.S. I love you, but a different
Mhm.
ending.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like anytime somebody's asking for emotion, if they want, so I want something that's going to give me a cry. Like if chapter one doesn't make you cry in that book, then you may be heartless.
Yes, and like yes, sorrow and is definitely an emotion that you can catch them in. Surprisingly, especially if you write romance, being like, I'm gonna tear your heart out, but then give you something to root for right
Yes,
at the end. I love it.
I
And
promise I pick up all the pieces.
oh yes, every last one. And did see the comment. Well, a lot of world building goes into the quote unquote hallmark towns of the lots of the contemporary romance stuff. So yeah. I definitely agree. Like there are so many ways you can interpret world building. It doesn't have to be fantasy or sci-fi. Yes, that happens a lot. A little more of a maybe in depth than other places, but yeah, world building. Everybody who writes some kind of fiction has to do some sort of level of world building. But I definitely see that. And yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, there's a lot of world building and works. But okay, so let me ask you, since the hour is gonna start speeding on by right now, it's that two-thirds way through part. A couple questions that I always want to make sure I do cover. One is, with your books, are they wide? Are they exclusively Zon? Obviously, do you sell direct? Where can people get any of your books?
So they are pretty exclusive to the Zon. They're all available on Kindle Unlimited, so you can read them for free if you have that. I do keep a small stock on me so that I can sell them that way. I do have them in my TikTok shop where I sign them and I try to, make them all cute and wrap them up and add some goodies if I can. But yeah, that's.
Tuck it with a recipe. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. Yeah,
I'm gonna do that.
I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm pushing. I was just like, maybe I'm
No,
just
I
in
love
a
it.
foodie mood. I was just like, I love recipes. I love when I get some tucked into someone else's like book box that they send out. I'm like, I think that's so cool. I have a few for one of my series, but my husband's the chef of the two of us. I like to eat. He likes to cook. So
Same.
I need him to come up with some creative ideas, because for me, it's just like, I don't know. Don't ask me. I follow a recipe. I don't come up with them.
Yep. And I need that recipe too. I can't fly off the cuff. I can't just be like, oh, I don't have that ingredient. Well, this one will work instead. No. It doesn't work for me.
And okay, and sorry. Your part two of the question that I got sidetracked on was what formats you said. KU, so obviously you have the ebooks. I think you showed paperbacks.
And paperback.
Okay, I didn't know if you had a hardcover or audio or just those two. 'Cause those are the the big ones.
Yeah, I am hoping to add audio, but it might take me a little bit of time.
It's okay.
That's probably going to be on
me
as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it took me a long time before I even started trying to tackle that, because it can be expensive. There's the time. There's learning all new platforms, even when it's just the author side of things. So take your time. If when you get to it, it does open the door to totally different readership, but take your time. Don't overdo it, because that's the one thing is people have to understand. Indie authors, we spend a lot of money on our stuff behind the scenes, and so budgeting and trying to it's a smart thing to do.
Yep. And the budget is small.
Yes. Now, if that ever changes, that would be great,
Absolutely. Teddy Hamilton, look out.
I'm coming. This is going to be great. I love that. But yeah, so one of the other questions I like to ask on here is, where do you, outside of Book Talks, you're here, and I know you mentioned Threads a little earlier, where else, if anywhere else, are you kind of hubbing as an author? Any other socials? Do you have a website, Linktree, newsletter, that kind of thing?
I'm terrible. I really should have a newsletter. I hear authors talk about it all the time, but I do not yet. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, and I'm attempting Lemonade, but it is not a priority, I guess. Yeah, it is different.
It's different. I've been on there for about a year, and I still don't know if I really fully get it, but I'm there.
Yeah.
I repurpose and repost things. So, I've added it on to my loop, and it gets like the stuff that I loop around. But yeah, I haven't really poked around that one too terribly much.
Doesn't get my focus, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we have lives. We're not 100% glued to the computer / keyboard / pen, notepad, whatever you're writing on. But we do other things too. So are you a person who likes to write a little bit every day if given the chance, or do you have like certain days that's like, I'm not 9 to 5, but like I'm a Monday through Friday person? Like how do you like to, set your time to write?
Because my time is limited, I try to make sure I fit in something every day. My computer, like I take my laptop everywhere. It's almost always with me, so that if something happens and I have 5-10 minutes, then I will give it my all those 5-10 minutes. Sundays are usually like our day off. So we'll do some family things, and then that's when I try to focus and really get that's when my word count goal will be like 2,000, 3,000. Like I'll try to push myself a little bit.
Yeah.
With the quote unquote snowstorm that never hit us, I was going to try for a ridiculous number, but it did not work, just like the snowstorm didn't work. So,
Well, for you, it kind of got passed on
yeah,
this way. I'll just
sorry about that.
mine.
My weather is in
Mine's
your
an
lawn
ice
this time.
storm. Yeah, I got the ice. I didn't even get the fun snow. You know.
Oh, the ice is the worst part.
It is. It's terrible. Oh man. But hey, you know what? I doubt. Well, I've lived through a number of ice storms throughout my life, being from the south. But like for me, it's always kind of fun when I have those unusual weather phenomenons. See, like, can I use you in a story?
Yes, yes. So I'm going to write a snowed in portion of this book four. I haven't reached the point where I want to add it in yet, but I know it's going to be there.
I love it. I love it. Again, there's some weird aspects of write what you know, but it doesn't have to be like the most obvious things. It can be just little
Yeah.
things that you get inspired by.
Yes.
What has been like in your experience? What has been one thing that you absolutely love so far about your writing journey?
Oh, honestly, so I've always wanted to write. I mean, I remember being like 9 years old and telling somebody, I'm going to be an author one day. And then they looked at me and they were like, you won't make money doing that. And I was like, oh, okay. So fast forward almost 30 years, we'll try this again. But I love that I feel like every single book I'm finding a little bit more of my voice. What's my thing to say? Or, being able to let myself free and be quirky in these books or be mean or be silly or, whatever it is. Like I love that it's almost opening up something inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as you want the readers to feel, it's interesting that your own words can make you feel sometimes.
Yeah, no, writing can be therapeutic. Writing can be relaxation. Writing, can be inspiring. It's amazing what it can be for the writer/author, however you want to term yourself. But yeah, all those are great things. And yeah, finding your writing voice is a great thing. It's and your voice can change over time. I know mine does, still does, but it's very nice because going through the process of writing my first series, I definitely, at the latter couple books, it was just like, yep, I feel like I got my voice at the time. And of course, now what I'm writing nowadays is still very different, but I have that a little more confidence of, knowing how my brain works, how to do the whole process, and, figuring out what to say. And then also I'm a little more aware of the things that I'm trying to not say, in the sense of those turns of phrases or words that I had to go to way too often. I'm like, okay, stop.
Yep. I'm working on that.
Working on it. I can't approach that the same way every chapter. Okay, no, we need to adjust and pivot.
Yep. Maybe we don't need to begin to do something. We just do the thing.
Yes.
I use the word begin too much.
Yeah, well, we will begin again.
Yeah.
So, what is one thing you wish you knew at the beginning of your writing journey that you feel like now would have benefited you tremendously, or in some way?
I wish that I would have known a little bit more about like ISBNs. I wish I would have known a little bit more about, like publishing through Amazon. The first book I did, I wrote it, I edited it, I sat there and I was like, you know what, this is trash for the longest time. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm putting it out there. So I literally published it on a whim through Amazon just to force myself to open the door and do the thing. And I wish that I had known a little bit more about Amazon versus Being Wide or Ingram Sparks or all the other options that I could have had. I don't necessarily regret the way that I've gone through things, but I know that like every once in a while there's a KU ban or, people will stop buying from Amazon, which I totally understand and respect. Like you absolutely should go to your indie bookstores. I would never, ever want somebody not to go to an indie bookstore and, but also I don't have very many options to sell my own book. So it limits, even with my thinking of I would love to be in more bookstores. It just limits me on what I can do, but we're going to work with it
Yeah.
for the time being.
And in regards to the ebook side of things, romance is known to do very, very well under KU. It is. It is. It's known to do very well there. So if you're not a romance writer, the door, depending again your genre, subgenre, it may make more sense for you to be wide. But what I have heard, again, I'm not romance, so what I have heard from other romance writers is that KU is, in one sense, one of the smartest ways, even though, despite the fact that, as you said, there are some bumps periodically in the road and people always trying to do what's best for the author, and sometimes that backfires for the author, and
Sometimes. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Their hearts are all in the right place.
Yes.
Yep.
The
Yep.
best thing to do is
Yeah.
just buy my books. But
Yep.
yes. But yeah, I was exclusive through Zon for a long time, and since then have been taking my stuff out and moving them wide because I had my own reasons. And but even for me as a high fantasy author, pulling out of something like KU did hit me pretty hard financially, and still does when it comes to ebook distribution. Though now my books can be found in libraries and all this kind of cool stuff, and I'm very proud of that fact, and I want to keep that open. But it's one of those things I just was like, well, I know I'm gonna get a financial hit, and it is. It's sad that's the case, but that was just my own point of view. On the other hand, I'm not romance, and so romance again does typically far better on that platform. So you being exclusive there may be the smart choice. Of course, you have the option to play around at a different time, but yeah, you don't have to feel limited.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, right now, I mean, my priority is just trying to find my readers, trying to find who it is that my books fit for, and hopefully they're out there somewhere.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I have seen, now I'm going back, I don't know, I must be a foodie thing in my head. Not recipes. We're not going to be talking about recipes. But have you seen it? It's been a while. This was like a trend, I don't know, however long ago, where someone like has like a mixing bowl and they put this and this and this and you mix out all this, like when it comes out, you can have your one kind of book, and then with food related, then maybe there's something you could do with like a box and like put in a little bit of like a sci-fi movie or something else, shake it up
I
and
love
pull
that.
out one of your other books. You can play around with it.
Yes. See? Are you sure you don't work in marketing?
Well, I feel like if I did, I would. I love all my readers and I thoroughly appreciate them, but I do know that marketing is one of my weak spots still.
It sounds like you're still ahead of me, so we're all right.
Hey, we all learn and we all pace at different times, so that's part of the game. It is a little bit like a game. It is.
It does feel like one for sure.
Yeah. What is one thing? Did I ask this? Now I'm going to blank on myself. I don't think I did, but towards the end of the hour, my brain's going to get fuzzy. What is one thing? Did I ask this? What is one thing that you wish you knew at the beginning of the journey? You said yes. That was because of the KU thing. And I was gonna say, for me, it's because I do everything bad the first time. My big thing is it's never too early to start marketing yourself, even if you haven't written a book. And I say this all the time because you can always jump on here and just say, hey, I'm gonna try to challenge myself to write a book, and give little teasers, do that, not obviously spoil, but the book community is so supportive that's a great thing. And so find your community. It doesn't have to be on this platform. It can be somewhere else, but find a community.
Yep. I have definitely been trying to do a little bit more teasers with this book versus the other three. But yeah, teasers are hard because sometimes I want to tell you the whole thing. I'm so excited about it that I want you to know all the things, but I have to hold back.
Well, that's why you can like list your tropes and list, the vibes and all. You can figure out different ways. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff too. For me, it's like you have these big stories, you have all the characters, and you have all the themes, and what do you pick out for that one sentence? And that's why I asked earlier. I was like, how do you put it in like a sentence or two? Because again, terrible at this thing.
It's so hard. The blurb on the back of the book is the worst thing ever. I can write you 100,000 words in a story, no problem. But you wanted me to give you 2 paragraphs that explains all the 100,000 words meant to me? It's impossible.
It's true. Those could be terribly hard as well. It's a different, again, a different type of way to like wrap your brain around something that you know so intimately, and you're like, now I have to cut it down to how many words?
And I have to not tell them what the twist is. What?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so comment coming in probably I think a couple parts, but yes, and now I was drawing a blank. I was about to ask something else, and that's when my brain goes, "It's fine, it's fine."
I do it too. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. Um, oh yes, and that okay, great bit of advice as a reviewer that grew a platform on IG. First on IG, the biggest advice is don't only post about your book, post about other things as well, especially book recs. And that's a fantastic bit of advice because I'm of the mindset that authors should be reading in our genre. You don't have to limit yourself to that genre, but you should be reading the genre you're trying to write. One, it's great to like have like your comps, so the things that are similar to your book, and
Yes.
know reader expectation, all that kind of stuff. But two, then you can like talk about other books in the genre you're trying to pitch. So that's smart.
Yeah. And I do. I love to read in and out of my genre. It's weird. Have you, maybe you haven't noticed this, but I have noticed that almost every person that like comes onto social media and says something like, I want a book recommendation. I love these tropes or these genres. And romance and thrillers are always a pair. Everyone who likes romance also likes thrillers, but that is me too. But I try to do that. The problem is that with life right now, I read, but I don't read nearly as quickly as I used to.
Yeah,
I used to
yeah.
be able to read a book every 3 days and I'd have a ton of book recommendations. But now I'm like, it might have been 2 weeks and I'm still reading the same book I was before.
Mhm. Yeah, I want to challenge myself to get into audiobooks more because I think I could actually read more by putting it on when I'm doing chores at the house and stuff like that. Because people say they do that all the time, and I'm like, that
They
makes
are
sense. That is the
addicting.
level of multitasking that I might be able to accomplish. But yeah, in
Yes.
general, I like reading physical books, and I only get a little bit in the night, right before bed, and a little bit right before I get up, and it's a little time, and so I might be working
Yep.
a chapter to 2 chapters a day. It's not a
Yep.
lot, so it
Yes.
takes a while.
Yes. I am actually trying to slow down on my audiobook consumption because I can fly through them. If you want the house clean, I need an audiobook in my ears. It's the only way it's going to work. But I am
Okay.
also trying to switch my focus to make sure I am reading more indie authors, especially smaller indie authors like myself. I want to give them more. So I'm trying to, I'm using KU as well in order to try and give these other authors something. If I can't afford to buy their book, then I'll at least read it on KU. But yeah, I'm finding it very difficult because a lot of the times I'm finding it's right before bed to read and I fall asleep
Yeah.
too
And
quickly.
thankfully, there are more and more audio indie authors that are getting into audio. But as we kind of mentioned a little earlier, it's expensive. There's a lot of things to it, and so it's not something that every author is going to be able to do. So I take that, but yeah, I said that because I started getting some of my series are all trying to catch up, well behind, trying to catch up in where I am with my audiobook production to where I am with my regular publishing. But yeah, I do try to read about 50-50 um, indie authors, small press authors, to maybe the traditional, like the iconic and the popular ones, just to know what Trad's doing as well. It's just an interesting thing. And thank you, Bookmark by Jordy. We love to be able to meet people and hang out on multiple platforms like IG.
Yes,
Um,
thank you.
Love it. See, this is why it's fun to meet people. And let me ask, because we are right at the end of the hour, and this goes for you, Megan, as well as anybody else who's listening. Is there any topic you wanted to cover that we haven't covered today? Any question you had that we haven't had a chance to ask? Because this is that perfect time to do so.
Oof. I think we covered pretty much everything. I mean, I went into this completely blind. Like I said, I was pretty nervous about it all day, but it went pretty well.
No, yeah, I
I
was gonna say I
appreciate.
like yeah, I like the conversational aspect because it's like some people like to talk about their books, but then they prefer to talk about book recs. And I'm like, sure, this is the time just to do whatever. We can talk about whatever. We can talk about life as a food truck owner as well. But it is an opportunity to chat about books and bookish stuff. And as a writer, you're hopefully a reader as well. So, all of the above is welcome on these things. So.
And I appreciate your time a lot. It's, being a new indie author, only into this for a year, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot still to do and a lot of things that you got to do to get your name out there. And I just appreciate you giving me your time today.
Oh, of course. So like, I love doing these. I try to do them weekly. I love doing these, and I do written interviews as well, because looking back when I began, I didn't know how to market myself. It's terrible at it. I didn't do it for like a couple years, like didn't do anything. So retrospectively, it's like, man, I wanted to offer something that, if things were reversed, I would have loved to have jumped on and taken advantage of, because we do. And I always learn things every time. I always keep my little notepad with me, because I'm learning things all the time. And I'll just talking with people, because someone may figure out this really cool, neat thing to try or do, or someone has a recommendation, or someone else learns about this great new platform or feature, and you're just like, thank you. Let's support each other, raise ourselves up as a community, and go from there.
And that just proves, bookmarked by Jordy's point, that the whole author community, the book talk community, everybody is so supportive and so helpful. Just these little chats, they're so helpful. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And like I said, if this platform's nice, usually it is. Every so often it glitches. I'll try to repurpose this on my YouTube channel and put all your links down below for people to find and follow you, and maybe get your books going forward, because that's another great thing. But since we have hit the end of the hour, and I know I've been hearing your little dog, but my dogs, I'm surprised I haven't heard them upstairs starting to run around, because at 8 o'clock hour, it's time to be let outside. So maybe they're afraid of the ice, which I don't blame them, because the whole yard is
right. Yes.
Hey, you could just skid across the yard and just slide. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Okay, what is your IG handle before we go? I see that question.
Let's see if I can type it in here.
Perfect. Well, while she's doing that, I was going to say, appreciate everybody who's come in and listened and hung out. Like I said, try to do this monthly. And Megan, if you ever want to do another one of these, after you release your next book or something, let me know. I do plan them in advance. I am a planner. But I'd love to catch up with you at a later point and see where your writing has led you so far.
That would be great. Thank you.
And for everybody else who's hung out, thank you so much again.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully we can hang out another time. But happy reading, everyone. It is time for me to let said dogs out. Until next time, everyone. Have a great
rest of
your day. Bye, everyone.